first thing I remember about that day is the sound. Not screaming, not explosions. Just a strange silence that fell over the convoy right before everything went wrong. I was a human soldier, assigned to a coalition security unit, guarding a diplomatic convoy that was moving through a border region no one fully controlled. My job was simple: stand at the edge, watch the perimeter, stay quiet. Humans were not trusted with important tasks in the coalition army. We were given the boring jobs, the tiring jobs, the jobs no alien officer wanted to do himself. I did not complain. I had learned a long time ago that complaining changed nothing. Doing your job well was the only thing that mattered. The convoy was carrying a young alien princess. Her name was Saris Vel, heir to one of the ruling houses of a powerful alien empire. I had seen her only once, from a distance, stepping out of her transport vehicle, surrounded by tall alien guards in polished armor. She looked calm and serious, older than her years. I did not expect to ever speak to her. Soldiers like me were not supposed to speak to royalty. We were supposed to protect them from far away and stay invisible. That plan fell apart the moment the attack began. It started with a flash in the sky, then a shockwave that threw dust and metal into the air. Raiders. Maybe separatists who did not want the peace treaty her family was trying to sign. Maybe something else. It did not matter in that moment. All that mattered was survival. I dropped to the ground as the first vehicle in the convoy exploded. My ears rang. Smoke filled the air. Around me, alien guards moved fast, firing back at shapes in the distance, shouting orders in a language I only partly understood. I grabbed my weapon and did what I was trained to do. I moved toward the danger instead of away from it. By the time I reached the princess's transport, 3 of her personal guards were already down. Not dead, but badly hurt, unable to fight. The 4th guard was still standing, but barely, blood running down his arm as he tried to shield her small body with his own. "Get her out," he said to me in broken common tongue, his voice shaking. "Get her out now." I did not think, I just moved. I pulled the princess from the wreckage of her transport and half-carried, half-dragged her toward a nearby ridge of rocks that offered some cover. She was lighter than I expected, her body trembling, one arm pressed tightly against a wound on her side that was bleeding steadily through her fingers. "Stay down," I told her, positioning myself between her and the open field where the attackers were still firing. "Stay low, I've got you." She looked up at me with wide, pain-filled eyes. Her skin, usually a smooth pale blue, was starting to turn a strange shade of gray. I did not know much about alien physiology, but I knew that was not a good sign. More coalition soldiers arrived, pushing the attackers back, and for a moment, I thought the worst was over. Then a coalition medic reached us, took one look at the princess, and his expression changed from urgency to something close to panic. "Her blood is failing," he said, more to himself than to me. "The wound has triggered a rejection cascade. Her body is attacking her own blood cells. We don't have compatible stabilizer fluid here. Everything was destroyed in the first explosion." "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means she will die within the hour unless we find a way to slow the reaction," he said. He looked around at the wreckage, at the chaos, at the lack of any working medical equipment. "I need a biological stabilizer, something with a neutral composition that can calm her system long enough for real treatment. I have nothing." I did not understand the science. I still do not completely, but I understood the fear in his voice, and I understood that the princess was dying in front of me while everyone around us searched for something that did not exist, in that broken, burning place. Then another voice spoke. It was her handmaiden, a young alien woman who had crawled to our position, her arm wrapped in a torn piece of cloth. "Human blood," she said quietly, almost like she did not want to say it out loud. "It has been recorded before. Human blood carries a compound that is neutral to almost every known species. It has been used in old emergency records. It could slow the reaction." The medic's eyes widened. Then his expression shifted to discomfort. "That is not something we do. Human blood is not considered pure enough for a royal transfusion. Her family would never approve." "Her family is not here," I said. "She is dying right now." Everyone went quiet for a moment. The medic looked at me, then at the princess, then back at me. I did not wait for permission. Take it, I said, rolling up my sleeve. Take what you need. Talk about approval later. The medic hesitated only a second longer, before moving quickly, preparing a direct transfusion line. I sat down beside the princess, my back against the rocks, and let him do his work. I will not pretend it did not hurt. It did. There is a strange, hollow feeling that comes with giving blood quickly under pressure, a kind of dizziness that creeps up slowly, and then all at once. But I kept talking to her. I do not fully know why. Maybe because she looked scared, and I remembered that scared people need a voice to hold on to. You're going to be fine, I told her, even though I could not promise that. Just breathe. Stay with me. Her hand, weak and trembling, found my other arm and gripped it tightly. Why are you helping me? She whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant sounds of fighting. I have never spoken to you before. You do not know me. You're a person who needs help, I said. That's enough of a reason. She stared at me, like those words meant something more than I realized at the time. The world around us grew hazy as the transfusion continued. I remember the sky, gray with smoke, slowly losing its color at the edges of my vision. I remember forcing myself to stay upright, to keep talking, to keep her calm, even as my own strength faded. I was not a hero in that moment. I was just a tired, dizzy soldier, trying to keep one more person alive, because it was the only thing I could do. I do not remember losing consciousness. I only remember waking up later in a medical tent, weak and thirsty, with a coalition doctor checking my pulse and telling me I was lucky to be alive. You gave more blood than we normally allow in a field transfusion, she said. You should rest for several days. The princess, I said immediately. Is she? She is stable, the doctor said. Because of you. I let out a breath I did not know I was holding. Word of what happened spread quickly through the outpost, and not everyone was happy about it. I heard whispers in the medical tent, alien officers speaking quietly outside, some outraged that common human blood had been used on royal veins, others uncomfortable with what it meant for old traditions that placed humans far below other species in status. I expected nothing to come of any of this. I expected to be quietly moved to another post, maybe even punished for stepping outside my role. Soldiers like me were used to being invisible, and I assumed my part in this story was already finished. I was wrong. 3 days later, I was summoned to the central hall of the outpost, a grand structure normally reserved for coalition officers and visiting dignitaries. I walked in wearing my simple uniform, feeling out of place among polished armor and formal robes. Alien leaders from several houses were present, along with coalition officers and advisors, and at the center of the room stood Princess Saris Vel, fully recovered, her pale blue skin restored to its natural color, her eyes sharp and steady. She looked at me and did not smile, but something in her posture softened. This is the soldier, she said to the gathered leaders, her voice carrying clearly through the hall. This is the human who gave his own blood without hesitation, who stayed beside me when my own guards could not, who spoke to me with calm words while giving up his own strength to save my life. Murmurs spread through the room. I stood still, unsure what was happening, unsure if I was in trouble or something else entirely. In my family's tradition, she continued, a life saved through direct sacrifice creates a bond that cannot be ignored. It is called a life debt. It has only ever been declared between equals, between members of noble houses, never before extended beyond our own kind. She stepped forward, closing the distance between us in front of everyone. I declare this soldier bonded to my house by life debt, she said, not as a servant, not as a lesser being to be thanked and dismissed, as an equal, whose blood ran alongside mine when it mattered most. The room fell into stunned silence. I saw shock on some faces, quiet approval on others, and open discomfort on a few who clearly did not like what they were hearing. I understood, even in that moment, that her words were not just about me. They were a challenge to the old way many alien houses viewed humanity, a public statement that could not be quietly taken back. I did not know what to say. I had not saved her for a reward. I had done it because it was the right thing to do, because I could not stand by and watch a frightened, dying person receive no help simply due to pride or tradition. I don't need a title, I said quietly. my voice steady, despite the weight of the room's attention. "I just didn't want you to die alone out there." Her eyes softened at that, and for a brief moment, the powerful princess in front of the gathered leaders looked simply like a young woman who remembered being terrified and not entirely alone. "That," she said, "is exactly why this reward matters more than any medal or payment could." News of what happened that day spread far beyond our small outpost. It reached other alien houses, other coalition worlds, sparking discussions and disagreements about long-held beliefs regarding humanity's place among the stars. Some resented it, some questioned it, but many quietly began to reconsider the assumptions they carried, if only because they could not ignore what had happened in that shattered convoy and the choice one ordinary soldier had made without hesitation. I did not become famous in any grand sense. I returned to my duties not long after, still an ordinary soldier, doing ordinary work. But something had changed, quietly and permanently. Alien officers who once looked past humans without a second glance, now paused, if only for a moment, remembering the story of a soldier who gave his blood without asking what he would receive in return. Looking back now, I understand that the moment that mattered most was not the ceremony, not the declaration in that grand hall, not even the fact that a princess was saved. It was smaller than that. It was the moment I chose to sit beside a frightened stranger and keep talking to her, even as my own strength faded, simply because she needed someone to stay. That is the thing I have come to believe about strength. It is not found in what you are able to take by force. It is found in what you are willing to give freely, without expecting anything back. A single quiet act of mercy, given without hesitation, can do more to change how the galaxy sees you than any victory ever could.